All right, what's up, guys? I hope everyone is doing good. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different, something that I've wanted to do for a while. Now that we've wrapped up the Zero to Payout series, I showed you guys what it looked like taking an account from completely scratch all the way to a payout. And I showed my P&L calendar every day. I did all the trade recaps. But now that I've shown what happens when you actually put in the work and learn the skill of trading, I want to show the side of things where you haven't built the skill yet and you're still in the learning phase. Because I think a lot of people get too focused on seeing the outcome. Like, that's all you guys see, right? You see the outcome of all the work that I put in, but you don't really see all of the struggles and the emotional nights and the bad times. You don't really get to see that. And I think every young person that gets into trading, their vision is, well, I want to be able to day trade so I can have freedom and have a nice fast car and a nice place to live. And now that I've done both of those things and I can have them very comfortably, which I'm super grateful for, I think it's always important to look back and look at the times when things weren't going so well. So today I have all of my old trading journals. So these two right here, these are gonna both be from 2023. This one right here, this red one, this is going to be start of 2024. This one is going to be end of 2024. And there's not too much in this one because this is when I turned profitable and started seeing consistent money. So not going to be too much in that one, but I do really want to focus on these ones right here. So I'm doing a blind reaction to this. I haven't looked through them yet because I wanted to get everything on camera. I think that'd be pretty cool. So we're just going to open them up and see what we can find. Just so you know, I'm not bullshitting. These are completely full. All of them are full. We'll go to this one right here. You'll see it is completely full. I took this really seriously. Like, even though I was a beginner, I still understood the statistic that 98 to 99% of people fail. That's got to be for a reason, because those people aren't putting in the effort. So I knew even from the start that I was going to take this balls to the wall. So pretty grateful I did that, because now I get to have these, and it's just really cool to look back on. So let's go into my first ever journal. I think my first ever one was on like one of those yellow notepad things where you can like flip the pages up, but I don't think I have that. That was from like late 2022, but we're gonna start with this one because this starts, it looks like June of 2023, and actually the first thing that's in this one, this is something that I wrote on a sticky note, and I put this on my MacBook at the time. And I put this on my MacBook. It was either December 31st of 2022 or January 1st of 2023. It was the New Year's resolution thing. I carried it over and I put it on this notebook as well, just to remind myself. And I'll show you guys right here. What it says is, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I will figure it out. I'm going to download Thinkorswim trading platform and find a way to have an edge in the market. Future you will thank yourself for starting. That's pretty crazy. Reading that now, that's crazy. Here, this is where I titled my trade log. This says, mark pre-highs and lows, mark pre-market confluences only if major, look for breaks and retests or rejections off these, use volume, fair value gap, 9 EMA, VWAP to confirm. So just to give you a background, at this time I was trading options, right? So I was using like supply and demand, support and resistance, Fibonacci levels. I was using the EMAs, VWAP, all that shit. Like, this is when I didn't even trade futures, okay? So this is pretty cool. And here on this sticky note, it says, before you enter, how much are you willing to lose/risk? Is this at a key level? Think about the next 100 trades. This is a small brick in the castle wall. It's actually cool because I preach that all the time now. So I've always been a pretty smart guy, and I've always had a pretty good outlook on psychology as a whole. But the thing is, I was never able to actually follow my psychological rules for myself. And I was a major crash out, and I'm sure you'll see some of that in this journal. But let's take a look through and see what we can find. The first one in this journal says, no trade, didn't force a trade, and was patient to see price not hit my levels. Good day overall. So I would journal every single day. Even if I didn't take a trade, I would make sure to journal. It was a habit for me that every single night before the next day, I would write out like this form right here where it says trade 1, entry, time, exit, time, all of that. And let me see if I can find one in here where I didn't write anything. Like right here, you can see. So I wrote out the date, I wrote out where I would mark everything, but there's nothing there. That's because I definitely didn't take a trade that day. But I was very consistent about making sure that I had my journal ready to go. It just kept me in check. You know what I mean? It kept me disciplined. Here's a good one. This is what this one looks like. So we took 2 L's. The first L, it goes mainly out of boredom and didn't want to miss out on the trend, didn't have a great stop loss. Lesson, don't overtrade, fucking idiot, close a computer, FOMO can't happen. The next one, this just says L, and all it says is revenge trade, what the fuck? So I'm guessing my psychology wasn't that great that day. This one right here says what the fuck in all caps, and then the second trade, why what the fuck in all caps, and both of them were L's. So not too sure what happened here. I definitely, like when I first started trading, I was screenshotting trades on my phone, and I would in my notes app, I would mark out the ones that are really important. So I'm guessing that was the result of this day, but yeah, that's pretty bad. And then here's another great one from Tuesday, August 8th. This one says, my confirmations were trading with the trend, 2-minute fair value gap reaction, good volume, and price action was in my favor. And this trade was an L, the lesson, fucking dumb, 2 long down wicks and took puts, like what the fuck. Could have waited till it hit fair value gap, but nope, I was dumb. I don't know what to do anymore. I suck. As you can see, I was very hard on myself. There was never a time where I was trying to give myself the easy way out. Like if I made a mistake, I would let myself hear about it, and you can see the proof right here. I took it very seriously, and I was very accountable for every decision I made. I never blamed anything on the market, and I think that's one of the advantages that I had, because anytime that I would lose a trade, immediately that was my fault and not the market. And I think a lot of people sometimes blame the market for losses. I never had that issue. And not all of these are dumb crash out losses. This one right here, September 6th, this was a W. It says my confirmations were lots of volume and retesting a key level. And this says great patience, but should have waited on exact retest for entry. Got in 10 cents early, but analyzed the trend and waited for a pullback. So great trade. So I wasn't always a complete dickhead to myself. I let myself know when I did good things as well. And that's a proper way to journal. Let yourself know when you do the good things and the bad things. So that way you can go back and try to take away some of the bad things. So this one right here says, I suck at trading. I suck just as much as when I started this notebook. Shocker. I literally suck so much I should quit before I lose all my money. Stop entering off tiny reactions to indicators that don't mean shit. I must have been going through it this day. You'll probably realize as we get further into this video that there's a lot of days where I was going through it, but it's part of the journey. At the end of this one, I also taped my morning checklist here, and this says, look at the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, 1 hour, and 5-minute, just making sure I have all my levels. Mark pre-market high and low. Look at SPX and ES levels. Look at news. Look for clear-cut fibs. And fibs, for those of you that don't know, Fibonacci retracements, I used to trade looking for reactions off like the 50% fib, the 61.8, just things that I do not even think about now. So it's kind of cool to look back at. All right, let's go to the next notebook, and you'll see this one has a bit of damage to it. Wonder why. Told you I was a bit of a crash out. I'm not even gonna read this one, but I was highlighting shit and everything. I took journaling, I took it serious. Here's some positive notes. This one says, it's a W, absolutely beautiful trade, held on to winners and trimmed at price targets, also had multiple confirmations and waited for a reaction before entry. That's good, that's good. Here's a really good one. This shows how accountable I actually was. This shows I took an L and then I took a win, and the loss, it just says volume was not in my favor, could have had a much better entry and been more patient. Price failed to crack low of day at the third candle, the fair value gap, not sure what that's about. But then the second trade says, dumb revenge trade, was profitable but barely, not proud of this emotional / irrational decision because in the long run this will hurt you. Price action was balls today. Should have just been done. Got very lucky I didn't lose more. And some of you should take a note on this one, because even though I revenge traded and made everything back, I ended up slightly green on the day, I still, even in the early stages of my trading, I knew that that was not sustainable long term and that eventually I would fuck myself, and I wrote that down here. So I was always holding myself accountable, and some of you need to get better at that. Some of you know I like to use sticky notes a lot, and it's been that way ever since I started trading. And you'll see here, this is on one of the back pages, so I was definitely looking at it on a day before I traded. And this says, can we at least go 1 week without losing control over our emotions? Even if it's a red week, we will have paid for good data to learn from. I'm actually kind of proud of myself. You know, I was always looking at this in the right way. As long as I was taking good setups that I had conviction in, even if they lost, I still knew the money that I lost is being spent towards learning lessons that were going to build me into a successful trader long term. So I'm actually pretty happy reading some of this. Well, this must not have been a very good day. This says November 13th in all caps. Everything is in all caps. Why the fuck are you trying to fight a choppy uptrend right above an SPX level on a Monday? My mentor, I'm not going to say his name, but my mentor is being dumb, unbelievable. In all caps. That wasn't a very good day. Actually, I remember this day because what happened is I got so mad. I didn't even do my normal journaling process. I talked about this once before on a video. I had a big tub of moisturizer sitting on my desk, and I lost my shit with that trade. I took that moisturizer and I threw that shit on my floor. It went everywhere. It went all over my room. Okay, it was all over my mirror. Some of it was on the ceiling. Some of it was on my monitor. It was bad, and it took me a long time to clean it up. But you would think there was a full-on orgy in that room because there was just this white cream all over the walls. Dude, it was brutal. So that was a bad day. And then I have this here, so every few months I would do a sheet like this that says trading lessons learned. And I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but this is just when I would look back at my journal and I would take key things away from it, I would write them all down here. And this is something that I still tell you guys to do because I did it. A lot of these pages too are just notes I was taking. Like the reason I bought the notebooks with the dividers in them is because I was using this as my journal, but also I would have a section of each notebook that was all my notes because I was always in some sort of mentorship. I never just tried to do this shit on my own. Like I realized you had to pay to play, and obviously some guy's just not gonna give me all the best information for free. So I was willing to pay to try to learn the information. And I would just sit there and watch all the course materials, all the recaps, all the videos. I'd watch them over and over and over again, try to take notes. So that is what all of this is right here. These are all notes and whatnot. Wow, fair value gaps. Look at that. I use these all the time now. You guys see all the profits and the P&Ls now, but at one point in time, I didn't even know what a fair value gap was. Moving on, let's go into 2024 and see what we can find in this notebook. It looks like I was pretty good about my journaling during this time because I just did a brief flip through and there's a lot of long paragraphs in here. Oh, here we go. This one says it was beautifully executed. I'm not going to read that whole thing because it looks like Shakespeare wrote it, but pretty good. This one right here, this one says, so I am able to give my future wife her dream house. I need to let my trades work for me and let runners run. That's wild. Like some of these pages in here get a little bit dark, so I can't read everything because some of it's kind of fucked up. But I would always relate my trading to personal shit like that. Like if I was thinking about breaking my rules or whatever, I would try to think about, oh, well, you're never gonna be able to surprise your mom with a brand new car for Christmas, or you're never gonna be able to take your brother on his dream vacation or some shit like that. I would always try to put it in a way to where it was very selfish of me to break my rules or take a bad trade. So I took this pretty deep sometimes. This starts off by saying no trades, but I had, and then there's obviously all of this shit, but that just shows you even on days where I didn't take trades, I didn't care. I had my pen to paper. I was journaling because I wanted to learn. I was in this shit for the long run, and I put in the work. And I mean, all these notebooks, it speaks for itself. Ooh, this is good. Notes before trading. So I would look at these every single day before I traded. Money isn't real. Completely detach yourself. Great traders don't trade every single day. Focus on your strategy and your perception only. Longevity is what we strive for. don't let intraday small wicks install fear in your position. That's huge. I like that one a lot. That's actually, those are pretty good. I don't mind those. Here I have fair value gap strategy performance history. So I would go back and I would go through all the setups and I would mark out the data to where it worked and when it didn't. And I mean, there is pages on pages on pages of this shit, just going through trades that I took, looking at the overall statistic. And that's how you become profitable, by forward testing a strategy and taking away the good and the bad things. So that's pretty cool. And then 2024 is also when I switched over to futures. You can see here how to find the draw on liquidity. So this is when I started taking notes on everything, how to know which fair value gaps will work, how to trade SMTs. Yeah, this is when I made the switch and I went from options to futures and never really looked back. And the last notebook, the one right before I turned profitable, it's nice finally seeing some futures terminology. This is when I joined Justin Werland's one-on-one mentorship. So I told you, I always knew that you had to pay to play, and he was one of the guys that I watched on YouTube and that just seemed like he really knew his shit, and he would go in depth with everything. He had great psychology, and that one-on-one mentorship was great. It taught me everything I needed to know about futures, ICT. I learned how to build very good habits. My psychology was rock solid from that mentorship. Just overall, a great experience. And you can see here, this was, I would still do the whole thing where I would prompt my journal the night before I traded. And what I changed about it is at the top, I wrote here, it says, get satisfaction from building good habits with 3 stars. And I wrote that at the top of every single page. So that was just a new tradition for me. Yep, here is, I was learning about Power 3, so accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Right here is premium and discount, OTE of the range. Yep, we have recognizing market conditions, finding your daily bias, how I recognize a bad conditions day. We got, I mean, this is the holy grail right here to my trading journey. I mean, guys, if this doesn't show you how much work I put in, I genuinely don't know what will, because, I mean, these notebooks are full. I am not exaggerating. I would sit there for hours on hours and hours just writing down notes, reviewing my trades, looking at my journal. It's just, it's crazy. And in this last notebook right here, you'll notice there's a lot of blank pages in this one, because this is where I turned profitable. This is where I started consistently making money through trading, and it's where I transitioned into continuations. Using all the same concepts, fair value gaps, strong liquidity, IFVGs, and because of all of the market experience that I already had, and my psychology was rock solid from Justin's mentorship, I was able to pick up on that very, very quickly, and I was profitable the same month that I started continuations, and I was able to scale pretty quickly from there. And I think the biggest thing for me was just having a strategy that was higher win rate, because when I traded reversals, it was more so higher risk to reward rather than a higher win rate model. And I didn't really like that. Like, I like to win. I'm more comfortable having a high win rate. So when I switched to a high win rate model, I mean, it was over from there. But yeah, in this last journal, there's not too much. There's a few pages of journaling, but there's no like big crash outs or anything. And going through this, you can see how quickly things escalated. So it's pretty cool to see. So going back through those notebooks and getting to see all of the journals, all of the hard times, the times of emotional struggle, all of the sleepless nights where I'd stay up all night watching videos, taking notes. I know it sounds corny, but you saw the notebooks. I'm not bullshitting with you. Like this shit, me being able to trade full time, me having all this information, being able to take these trades, being able to talk to you guys about psychology, that shit just doesn't fall from the sky, right? This is after years and years of dedicating myself to this craft. I always tell people that trading is the hardest way to make easy money. And the issue is everyone only sees the easy money after the years of work. And that's why I wanted to do this video, because I guarantee you there are so many of you watching this right now that were in the same spot I was in when I was writing these fucking journals, okay? And that is not a fun spot to be in, because you don't know if it's possible or not. The reason I wanted to do this is to show you it is possible. You saw, I wrote in there, I suck at trading, I'm the worst, it's not gonna work out. But I stuck with the process. I stuck with it. And the first note I read, it said, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I will figure it out. I'm going to download Thinkorswim trading platform and find a way to have an edge in the market. Future you will thank yourself for starting. And I do thank myself for starting, because I just am so grateful to be in the position that I am right now. But by no means did I get lucky. I put in a shit ton of work, a shit ton of hours. I was stressed out all the time. It ruined relationships for me. Like, I took this shit so seriously. And I don't mean to fucking get emotional on you guys, but this was everything. I gave trading everything I had, and now being able to see the results, it was all worth it. And I promise you right now, if you're in that stage where you're not seeing consistent profits yet, but you have that belief in yourself and you keep working at this day after day after day, it is possible and it will happen if you just submit to the process and keep working at this day after day after day. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I had a great time making this video, definitely one of my favorites. As always, I do have the link to join my Discord. That is going to be in the description of this video, and I hope this gave you a little boost of motivation. But I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.